Sparkle family, and welcome back to Flow State Tarot. We are diving into another pep talk. So, obviously, the reason I bring up these topics are because I find them important. And this one, especially so, because like all of our journeys being unique, success is defined by ourselves. And I think a lot of times as creatives, individuals, it's really easy to get lost looking for the idea of success. Like, what is success to me? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about why it's important to figure out what success means to you and how to do that. So, I don't write really scripts for my videos. I do like to think about my thoughts and try to organize them in a way where I can get the message across in the best way. So, very minimal notes I'm ever writing, but if you see me looking down, that's why. So, kind of wanting to hit a square of thought here that can be used over and over and over again, because when we hit goals, you could say, if this is success to you, right? Hitting goals, then you're going to move on to the next thing. We're always evolving, whether that's in our personal lives, in our craft, in our endeavors. And so being able to really look at what we're doing and what we've done and place, I don't want to say, like, I'm trying to choose my words so carefully, if you can't tell, but I don't want to say, all of your achievements in that. But your outlook can change when you also feel like you're getting somewhere with the things you're trying to accomplish. So that kind of is my first point. Why? Why do we want to define what success means to us? We want to do it because we want to understand, right? We want to be able to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, because it's easy to get lost in the noise. It's easy to get lost in thinking about what other people are saying and doing. And it's a lot harder to stick to something once the original excitement has worn off. So when we know the why do I want to be successful? Who even told me? Who gave me that expectation, right? Maybe for a personal anecdote, I would really like to have one of my photographs published in Vogue at some point in my career. And it doesn't have to be a cover photo, just somewhere in there. Maybe I work on a campaign or something. But why do I have that? Because I got really interested in photography as an art from reading Vogue or like those kinds of magazines and tearing out the editorial spreads that I was inspired by and trying to recreate that. So for me, that would be success because it's an ode to my younger self and the birthing of me wanting to do something more, right, than just only making something just for the sake of making it. So the why do you want to be successful? And then also on the other side of that, why is that important to you, right? To me, it's important because that would mean that I have done something for my younger self that I set out to do. And honestly, I already feel like I do that every day, just continuing to be a creative and to do creative things and finish creative ideas. But that's just an even higher tier of success. And this kind of is where the personal relationship comes into it, right? So the next part is how, right? How, and that's also related to why, right? It's all a web of interconnectedness. And like even the square that we're building, you can move through the square in different ways, right? How do your idols define success, or the people in your life, or the people that you find to be successful? What do they say about success? What is the message that they're putting out into the world? And maybe finding the overlapping or intersecting points of, okay, this person thinks this and I think this, and this is how they work together, you know? Um, and leading into a third point of your life is unique, right? So everyone is going to look different. So maybe for you, you just really need to hyperfixate on one way of being successful. And to you, that's financial stability. So as soon as you can pay your bills, that means that you are successful in your mind and like you've done it, right? Everyone is going to have a different relationship with that. There are people where I would say I'm almost chronically a perfectionist and I'm always striving to do something more, something new. That can be a detriment sometimes if I'm not following through, which comes into knowing myself. But I have different levels of success in every thing that I want to accomplish. There is a success to be had with that project. So for myself, it's lots of successes make my life feel successful. I couldn't just say that there's one career thing I need or want to accomplish to feel like I've been successful, because I feel like I've already started doing that. Like hosting an art event that I curated with not only my art but other people's, and then other people came to that event, that is already a success to me. So how will I continue to be successful? I'm just going to continue to do those things. Lastly, measurement. So, and I'm going to just drive this home. These are all so interchangeable and they work together. Sometimes they could all be one thing. Maybe that's how you see fit best to build the idea of success in your life and in your mind. But how do you measure that success? So maybe you're a very visual person and you make a chart that is checking things off, and that is your success, is when all these things are checked off, like a map of the 50 states, and you're like, I'm going to travel to all of these states, and you put a pin in every state when you go to it, right? So maybe that's how you measure your success. Or maybe it's, I have to grow my business to where I make a certain amount of figures in a year, and then that is successful, you know? And then you can look at that, have you achieved that? And you can look at that by just looking at numbers. Or maybe it truly is just like building a following because you want to spread some kind of message, and the more people that hear the message, the more you can get your voice heard. And so that could be, you want to spread it to 1,000 people, and that's having 1,000 followers, you know, however that translates. So we have the why, we have the how, we have you are unique, and we have measurements, right? So all of those things are important when you're looking at success and how you define success. And you can use this cutesy short little video to create a framework for the success of your own life. And if you keep that idea of the box imagery, like you can always keep that top open because you get to throw your successes into them, right? So I hope that was helpful, my little Sparkle family, and I'll see you in the next pick a card reading.